happened in the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin incident in the case of what was going on between those two men. Now, I want to make myself extremely clear before we get into the video clip that is going to be proving what I've been saying now for well over a week, probably closer to 2 weeks at this point. Okay? One, I know that police brutality exists. I think this is a case of that. I think it clearly shows this man murdered the other guy on video. Let's get that out of the way. So police brutality exists. This guy should definitely be prosecuted for it. One. Okay? Number two, racism exists. Racism exists globally. And there are a lot of racists out there. However, there are also a lot of people that don't give one flying fuckelschnuck, okay, about the color of your skin. And this has been used as a racial issue. Here's the thing. No one did their homework. No one wanted to say that this wasn't a racial thing. What do I mean by that? Well, Derek Chauvin could be the biggest racist ever. Very possible. Very possible. But the way this was portrayed is that yet another random black man was killed by a white policeman. And that was it. They knew each other. Let me say it again. They knew each other, they knew each other, they knew each other very well. Okay? There's something else going on here. And no one wants to talk about that something else. We're going to talk about that something else. And hopefully we don't get banned. So before we get there, I want to remind everybody, okay? I'm fully demonetized on this platform. 100%. I need your support now more than ever. I'm trying to get out of the state, trying to get my plates for my car. I mean, it's madness here. Hopefully more things are opening up, and in the next, couple of weeks, everything will be somewhat back to normal, but I doubt it with guys like Cuomo out there that are now using this as an opportunity, which is very bizarre. We live in the upside down, to point out the past militarization of the police, especially after 9/11. Brought that up in the press conference yesterday. See, they tell you a lot of truth while they lie to you about the solutions for that, but we'll get there eventually as well. So, I just want to play it because I think it's really important. It should be being played all across the mainstream media today. I don't know that it's going to be. Okay, so here we go.
Floyd in Minneapolis tonight. CBS News is learning new details about the former police officer charged in his death. A co-worker tells CBS News the two men worked together at a nightclub, and he says they had a history of not getting along.
So let's stop
Jeff
here.
Gaze is in Minneapolis tonight with that new reporting. Jeff?
First of all, the only new reporting here is now we know they didn't get along. Okay, so now these guys have a past history. They're working in a nightclub together. You're going to find out that Chauvin worked there at least. And remember, initially there was a city councilwoman who said they knew each other very well, and people dismissed that because she said they worked together for 17 years, and there were reports that Floyd was a transplant from Texas, but who knows, maybe he moved back and forth. I don't know. But I'm telling you from this report, these two guys knew each other very well for a while. And Chauvin was at that club for 17 years as the on-site police officer. And this was a nightclub, guys. I'm in the bar business. What does that mean? That means there's more than alcohol going around. And that may be one of the reasons Chauvin didn't like him. And I'm going to get into that because you can clearly see that George Floyd has drugs on him during the arrest. But we'll get to that also, okay?
Nora, George Floyd died here, and that's why you still have this massive memorial filling this intersection behind me. And even in the rain, people are coming out to see it. And our reporting today shows that the victim in this case and the officer at the center of the investigation crossed paths in another location too, a nightclub.
Crossed paths is now understating their relationship. Okay, but you're going to see that in a moment.
Tonight, CBS News is learning new information about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin from a man who worked security with both of them at this nightclub in Minneapolis. Co-worker David Penny is breaking his silence, telling us that the two men had a history. What kind of history?
They bumped heads.
How?
It has a lot to do with Derek being extremely aggressive within the club with some of the patrons.
So let's talk about that. Now, if you've seen, that George Floyd was a rather large man, and if you've seen the other charges that include drugs and weapons charges, okay, you might understand why Chauvin maybe didn't like these guys and maybe Floyd did. Just putting that out there. Obviously Floyd's a big dude. He was working security. Now, you got to understand that this being, a media event, that guy really pressed this man and the owner of the club, you'll see, to try to get to say that Chauvin was a racist. Okay, and maybe he is. I'm not saying Chauvin's not a racist. I want to get that totally out of the way. I have no idea what's in that guy's heart. What they were able to get her to say is that he was afraid and intimidated of black people. Okay, that's about as far as the owner of the club will go. But here you go. You're seeing that they butted heads. And now he's going to confirm they knew each other very well. So that idea that they barely knew each other or never crossed paths that was being, put out by people that were challenging me on this information is completely false.
Which was an issue.
The Floyd family says it believes what happened on May 25th was in part personal.
So now even the family, okay? Again, why isn't this all across the media? The family thinks that this was a personal thing. Let me really reiterate this. I'm not saying there's not police brutality. I'm not saying there isn't racism. But look what's going on. I know a lot of people out there will say that, well, the ends justify the means. Really? Really? So now a personal vendetta between two people. Remember, out of those 4 officers, other than Chauvin, 2 of them were on their first week of duty. All right? Can you imagine your superior telling you that he's worked with this guy for at least a year, he doesn't like him, tells him about the drug and gun charges that Floyd had previously, which we'll show you? Okay? And those guys are just going to listen. I'm not saying they shouldn't be held accountable. But this isn't the sword to fall on. And as I've said, the guy should be prosecuted. But if the family is also saying that this is personal and the media is not talking about that, think about it.
Is there any doubt in your mind that Derek Chauvin knew George Floyd?
No, he knew him.
How well?
We interfaced with officers.
How well did he know him?
I'd say pretty well.
I would say pretty well. Huh. We interfaced with officers pretty well. Now, this is the owner. The family says it's personal. They worked together at a nightclub. Okay? They didn't like one another. And now the woman who owns the club is about to confirm all this again.
Santa Maria, the owner of the now torched club, described how Chauvin treated black patrons when she talked to us for the upcoming CBS News special, Justice for All. Do you think Derek had a problem with black people?
I think he was afraid and intimidated.
So let's stop. Again, he's trying to get, I'm sure he did the same thing with David, right? He tried to get him to say that Chauvin was a racist. But whatever his response was still didn't make the news clip. This response after grilling Will, watch.
By black folks.
Yeah.
So she's afraid and intimidated.
Continues, other cities across the country are considering police reforms.
So let's just stop one more time. The media is selling you on this guy, okay? And what I want to show people, you can go check out his record. It's all here. I want to show people right here in the arrest. Right over my shoulder, okay, right here, you're going to see him drop drugs while they arrested him. And apparently he kicked the car. Okay, watch. Just keep watching right here. There it goes. Boom. And it's right there. Let's go back so you can catch it again. But you can see it in the corner right now. So he drops some kind of bag of white powder. Again, didn't deserve to die. But like this guy, aside from passing the bad bill and he has the drugs, he's trying to get those off him. He's got priors. Okay, this right here, if you want to go through some of those priors, you can see his arrest, the cocaine arrests, the fentanyl in his system, the fact that he actually did put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly and get convicted of that in a robbery. This is the guy we're falling on our swords for. And this is what really upsets me. Is what I'm about to talk about affects everybody and shows some really true global racism. All right? You know, WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, he's being tortured daily in prison. He's being held behind a glass box when he's in court as a cyber terrorist criminal. This guy, I can't get 100 people out in the streets to protest his extradition. And this affects all of us. Why? Because he's exposing the torture of brown people in Guantanamo Bay and other black sites. He's exposing the drone bombs and the surveillance state and oppression that goes on in Eurasia and beyond that is quickly going to come here if we allow it to. And if you think I'm kidding, all right, I want to make everybody aware of this. You know, that thinks that you can just play side-by-side politics. It's Democrats, they're all bad. It's Republicans, they're all bad. No, the permanent state's sticking around, guys. That's what's bad. And the president's signing off on it. This is the Defense Strategy 2020, you know. Big Donnie, it's right there. He's signing off on it, loves it. And I just want to read the one section I keep reading because it's so important for people to understand what they look at you as and how you are now basically, you know, Hezbollah. Let's get there. Or ISIS. Let's see ISIS. Let's go right over to it. There it is right there. Okay, take a look. Let me explain to you. If they'll extradite a citizen of another country that's never committed an actual cyber crime on trumped up charges, and then they'll say that there are other state adversaries such as Cuba, Iran, and North Korea, and then non-state actors such as Lebanese Hezbollah, ISIS, and Al-Qaeda, as well as transnational criminal organizations and ideologically motivated entities. Ideologically motivated entities are the same as ISIS and Al-Qaeda, such as hacktivists. Whoa, is that a word? Leaktivists. Oh, so now when you want to blow the whistle and leak documents because of, you know, massive war crimes, now you're a leaktivist? Oh no, you could just be a public disclosure organization. You could just publish what gets leaked. And now you're them. They also pose a significant threat. Huh. But no, this is the sword we're falling on. And meanwhile, while I live in the upside down, they're somehow telling you that these protests and riots are justified, even though, again, the family thinks it might be personal. Okay, not just a racial thing. This isn't a random racial thing. Let's stop acting like it was. It never was. It never was. They'll endorse that all through this COVID-19 84 when businesses are still shut down. The economy is about to take the biggest, I'm not going to make the predictions here. This isn't the video for it. Okay? But it's not going to be great, folks, when all these states are already bankrupt and now their main streets are burnt to the ground. Okay? Meanwhile, this stuff is all still going down. They're talking about defunding the police. Guys, they were defunding the police anyway because they didn't have any money after this during COVID-19 84. But it wasn't okay to go out during the protests. And then on top of it, all this digital censorship across the board against real information. I mean, will this be censored? Because I don't think that this was a racially motivated attack. Do I not get to have an opinion because the color of my skin isn't dark enough? What is going on? What happened to the content of someone's character? What about us coming together and saying, yes, police brutality is an issue. The militarization of police is an issue. Racism is an issue. We need to hold these people actually criminally accountable. We need to take up this systemic injustice system that protects these people. But when at the top, you got an attorney general that is slyly covering for the Epstein network, what did you expect? What did you expect? So guys, thumbs this video up, subscribe and share. Join the Burmist Brigade. Those that can, please, $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Share this video. Show people that they knew each other. This isn't, again, some random racial event. And big donors, I could use you now more than ever. Again, subscribe, thumbs up, share the videos. I am a documentary filmmaker, by the way. If you'd like to check out my documentaries, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, and New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture, they are free right here, right now, in the playlist section. And we got some exclusives over at Rockfin this week. One of them's free. Go check out my Stop It. I have been dead for a long time, the JFK Jr. resurrection hoax. That's a free video. And then there's a couple of premium ones if you are a subscriber and supporting me there. Thank you for that, by the way. We've got over 2 hours with some of the biggest names in the game. James Corbett is on there. Dyer is on there. Jeffrey Wilson is on there. Sigurdsson, Radowski is on there. Ben Swan is on there. So many others from different alternative platforms talking about a way to get around the censorship. So if you are a premium subscriber, that is exclusively over at Rockfin. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. And listen, let's not let this divide us. Let's show this information and say, hey, listen, I get it. I get your frustration and anger, but this isn't the sword to fall on it. Period. Love you guys. See you on the flip side.